In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to this episode of Marketing in the Age of AI. We're going to have a great conversation today about e-commerce brands, e-commerce marketing, and what's working now that maybe wasn't working before or is not working that once was. My guest is Gabriel Kaam. He's the CEO and co-founder of the K&R agency, Paris-based digital powerhouse, specializing in e-com for fashion, beauty, and luxury brands. Since 2016, Gabriel has been at the forefront of helping global icons like LVMH, L'Oreal, and the Couples redefine their online presence. Welcome to the show, and I'm glad to have you here today.
Glad to be here, Emmanuel. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. We've had an interesting run over the last couple of decades in marketing with all different types of companies. What are you seeing that is working right now that has worked through the entirety of your career?
It's interesting times we're living right now when it comes to technology with AI you mentioned, and of course e-commerce. I think for me, the thing that I've been seeing right now work well, that's always been working, but that's working now in different ways. It's about personalization. I think, when you talk about 5-10 years ago, one of the keyword online e-commerce was omni-channel, be able to customize, personalize, and of course you want to be able to replicate that. And we've been doing that, through, websites that are more dynamic, emails that can be personalized. But now with AI, we are just going into like a new age, of personalization and creating this customized experience. So it's really interesting to see how we can, adapt like a business, like an e-commerce, brand, to really talk to customers in a really personalized way, give them advice, being able to give them a really precise recommendation based on, what they've been ordering before, maybe what they're going to do in the next few weeks, or maybe what the trends are. So I do believe that personalization and customization has a great impact on e-commerce, over the past couple of years.
I love that. And then are you using special tools or using Salesforce and HubSpot? What are you using to communicate with the customers of your clients?
Yeah, that's a great question, because when you talk about personalization, you need to think about the data, right? And the data, you can have a lot of data but not organized, and you can have no data. So you really need to think about the data first, before you think about how to personalize the experience. Now, over the past 8 years, we've been running the company. We've been working a lot with a lot of CRMs, of course, as mentioned, Salesforce and HubSpot, for example. We actually had a really great experience with Salesforce over the past few years, because most of our enterprise level clients, like the L'Oreal, the LVMH, they usually tend to use this kind of software. We work a lot with the two specific cloud, the Salesforce Marketing Cloud. So anything from email marketing to automation, we use that, and Salesforce Commerce Cloud as well. But at the base, Salesforce is a CRM. It's about the data. It's about how do you capture data, how to capture like clean data, and then how to use it. So that's something that is always very interesting, especially for me. I'm like a geek, so data, I love to think about, the data structure, that database, that how can we structure data, clean data, and then utilize data. And CRM are also like a big component of that whole scenario.
Yeah, I like that. I agree with you that the having good data, having it associated with the proper files, is a
Yeah.
critical part of the personalization. Uh, I'm amazed to find as a receiver of marketing the number of times I'll get messages that are obviously incorrect for me, things either I'm not interested in or things that aren't coherent with my lifestyle, and, uh, and from companies I've done business with for a long time. So.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. They probably don't have the right tagging or segmentation up to place, or maybe the data was not clean. Or something that really happens sometimes is they go through like a migration, or maybe they are changing software. Replatforming. We've been helping this company called ETAM. They are like a European leader um, uh, in underwear, and transition their data CRM to Salesforce, and hard, to get the data from this, to extract it and reintegrate it like into the new. That's always like sensitive and project.
Yes.
So yeah, I can understand how sometimes it seems like, why was that sent to me like that? I won't buy like a lingerie for myself, why am I getting this email right now? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for a long time, e-commerce has been driven by pay-per-click ads as one of the primary top of the funnel activities. Are you still seeing that, and what are you seeing in the different markets? U.S. versus Europe versus other markets that you're working in.
Do you mean like what do you mean by paperclip?
Like social media ads or even Google ads. Yeah, what are you
Yeah.
seeing for that?
Yeah, well, we work a lot, of course, with because we also run a pay media campaign for our clients. So we've been working a lot with the likes of the Google ads, with the Paymax campaign. We work a lot with Meta, of course, Facebook and Instagram. What we've been seeing, this past few years, I would say, is the rise of cost on this platform. So it's getting more and more expensive to actually advertise on this platform. It's caused by a lot of things, like in Europe, a lot of privacy rules that are getting stricter and stricter, so they make it like harder for you to target the right audience. So you need to reach to like a lot of more people to get to to your right persona. This platform are, I guess, becoming a little bit easier to use, using AI to facilitate the launch of campaign, which means you get a lot more competition of people who don't know how to target, but they just target broad. So you need to compete with auction with these people, so that raise the cost. So in a way, this platform are starting to be more easy to use and more smart in a way. You run campaign. I remember like maybe 5 years ago, you had to really know about the marketing and the Facebook behavior to be able to have a campaign. But no, it's like you just launch an ad with like a visual, like no targeting, just like a budget, and that's it, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of things that are happening right now, but the effect that it has on people who advertise, that you cannot rely anymore on ads, right? It's way too expensive because it's too easy. So everybody can do it, which means you have a lot of competition,
Yep.
and you can. How many ads can you really create in a day? So what we're trying to see right now, what we're seeing right now is, on platform like Instagram Reels and TikTok, for example, when if you are able to create organic content in the right way, you are able to get semi-viral, and that can actually help you reach like a wider audience that you could have even if you had like a nice budget. So right now I feel like when it comes to advertising, you have to have a mix. You cannot just rely on ads. It's not a good way to build a business that's only supported by ads as your acquisition platform. It's not sustainable because the costs are rising, the competition is rising. So you need to think about at least two things, right? First thing could be organic content. I see it a lot for brands on TikTok, on Pinterest, on Instagram Reel, getting a lot of views and a lot of purchase from organic content. Same from B2B, I'm guessing you're active on LinkedIn. I am as well. We're getting so many more clients on LinkedIn via the post versus running like some ads on Google Ads, for example. They are also like more qualified, so they convert better because they know you a little bit more. So that's one thing that's really happening right now. And the second thing I would say is build on retention. It's not enough to just do acquisition right now. If you really want to build like a sustainable business, you need to think about the retention, your customer fidelity. When you have a customer, how can you make sure that he have such a great experience with your product that they want to buy again and again and again, and they want to tell your friends? So you need to work on that about the back end. It's not just, 5 years ago, like just a bunch of ads and then have crazy ROIs and you can just like exit the company after a few months, like you need to build on the long-term relationship with your clients. Think about retention, think about the client cycle to really be able to grow in this day and age.
I love that. That's some great points there. I think the first thing is that I agree that the studies have shown we need to build 60% branding or content marketing, 40% ads or transactional content. And so that's a really important thing for new businesses, I think, in particular, to realize is that you can't just crush the market with advertising.
Yeah,
because you
exactly.
don't have enough validity there to do that.
Yeah.
The second thing that I agree with that is we know that it's much less expensive to maintain a customer relationship than it is to get a new customer, and we do that by upselling and cross-selling and institutionalizing our sales and consistently anticipating what the client is looking for next in their journey, not just with our product, but just in their life journey. And I think a lot of new brands lose sight of that also. That there's a progression that people are going on before and after they buy your product, and you can integrate that into your product development and into your marketing ultimately to maintain those relationships. So beautiful points.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that right now, I was 3-4 weeks ago, I think, doing a workshop that we did about operation and how to basically map out your business and particularly like your sales funnel, right? And we had about 35 entrepreneurs in the room. So we started to map up model of business. And I don't know, I'm going to say half of the room, me included, didn't have in my process like an upsell, like
Right.
As you said, the upsell was not systematically part of my client journey, which it should, so this workshop helped me realize that. And that was crazy because I was like, oh my God, what do you think of that? But then half of the room was like, oh, dude, yeah. I upset because sometimes, the clients call me back or I call them back because I want to get some news. But no, it needs to be part of your journey. It needs to be as important as signing the contract in the first place, the offboarding and the upselling, and to understand, okay, how can you support the client better should be part of your processes, especially if you, as you said, running like a team, a company, you need to have processes in place, you need to have it mapped out. That's really important, that's necessary. Same in e-commerce. You cannot just rely on the customer wanting to hear more from you. It needs to be like in your strategy automation. That could be like an email, that could be like a WhatsApp, that could be like an SMS, that could be like a free gift that you send them, after like a few weeks, but it has to be part of your strategy. Yes. If you really want to build this long-term relationship with your client.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. The other interesting thing about the upsell is that as soon as I sell one of those upsell products, then I move that price up again another 50%, so that I can start to understand the elasticity of the marketplace, and as well as continue to provide value. That's the fundamental.
Exactly.
But we want to understand what that upward price level is so that we continue to increase our margins.
Yeah, exactly. Cost is rising, right? And to me, like whenever I increase my price, it's always like, okay, no, I have even more capital to play to actually serve this client. So that could be either hiring like a better team, that can be going, like on a 3-day workshop to actually make my business better, so I can service my client better. So yeah, it always come back into the business in some way or another, to be able to serve either your clients in a better way or serve more clients, to help them going through whatever your service is.
Yeah, I love it. What are you seeing right now in terms of the viability of email marketing, both as top of the funnel and as continual client retention?
Yeah. I mean, I love email marketing. I actually started my career working in email marketing. And the thing that I love about it is that it's virtually free, right? Like, if you compare it to any other acquisition like SEO, or like even content on social media or ads, right? You have people in your CRM that trusted you enough to give you their email address, which is like some privacy, right? They're letting you send them an email whatever you want, right? That's really important, right? But some people, they have their email and they don't do anything about it. It's like, come on, it doesn't cost you anything to send an email to just connect with a customer. And the way I like to approach email marketing, and I think that's really what we're going towards right now, is trying to build this one-on-one relationship with them. So I'm trying to train my client to send emails just the way they will be talking to one person, right? Not just send an email like as a broad message. No,
Right.
people need to receive this and think like, oh, this email was actually written to me, and that comes from the content of the email, how it's written, and also, of course, as you said earlier about the segmentation, right? It needs to be not pertinent, but relevant to them when you send this email. So yeah, and I love email marketing. I think email is there to stay. I've been seeing like over a couple of years, even a lot of people doing B2B and starting, this newsletter, getting really nice revenue from them, because, they can send an email every week. It costs them like virtually like no money, but they're still able to give values. But if you look on the other way, social media like Instagram and Facebook, there's so many competition. So when you do a post, maybe 10-15% of your audience will actually see this post.
Right.
So you're missing out on this. But if you're able to send an email, you're more likely to be seen. So yeah, I think email marketing is there to stay. It's getting crazy right now with automation and customization with AI. So yeah, I'm a big believer in email marketing.
What do you see that's going to be a big driver this year for a holiday, and how are people going to be maximizing their marketing spend and getting best ROI for the rest of this year?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I think right now it's probably going to be a mix of social media and AI, probably with how do we say, content generation, when you create like videos and images, because there's so many memes right now happening. It's really easy to get crazy attention on social media. So if you're able to create this kind of content that can tell a story in a very effective way that catch people eyeballs, and then if you're able to create that at scale with AI, which is possible now, if you're able to promote that to social media, and if you're able to push it forward with a little bit of media buying, yeah, I think there's a big chance for the holiday season to be like a big hit for your brand if you're able to communicate this message.
I like it. All right. Well, if people want to have a conversation with you, how do they track you down?
Yeah, they can find me on LinkedIn. I'm actually trying to be more to show up more often on LinkedIn right now. So if you can come on LinkedIn and look at my message, I'm writing in French right now, but I'm trying to switch between French and English. But yeah, we try to give a lot of advice. We take from the coaching that we've been doing with these agencies, and we take our learnings and then we try to package them in a consumable manner and then release it to the public for free. So if you want to know what kind of strategy, like how do we do paid ads for like big brands, if you want to do how we are able to build this company to 1 million a year doing only SEO, well, you can get that information for free on our LinkedIn. Yeah.
All right. Well, I love it. Well, I appreciate your time. Thanks for sharing your insights with me today, and look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Yeah, pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Thank you, Gabriel. Well, it's some important reminders for fundamentals. One is remembering to use as much customization and tagging in your email marketing as possible, and work to build a tone of voice that is uh, one-on-one tone of voice instead of to the group. And so we know this from the old days of radio advertising, where you would speak to one person. You build these concepts that are problem, solution, call to action is a very good way to drive connection. And also to remember that branding and content marketing builds credibility for your company and is a critical component in your ad strategy, ironically enough. Hope you found value in this. And this is Emmanuel Rose.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next time.